in here just thinking about y'all. And this is your boy Andre once again. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And got the, yes, sir, the young hunter thump. Alright, so if you're trying to learn how to play the organ, I saw somebody's left a comment and wanted to learn how to play the organ. So, first thing is knowing how to turn on the organ. If you ain't never turned one on, I'm turn my back off for a moment. And So yes, once again, my name is Andre Clark, and I'm still fairly new on here. I've been on here since September the 5th. I want to give it take. So startup mode on this on my B3 Hammond organ. Quick breakdown. I have over here to the left of mine. It says everybody might have something different on theirs on how their setup might be. So on mine, I can't see the light. It's kind of dark over here a little bit. So I'm still, y'all know. Okay, let me see how I do this. I forgot how I do this. I do it my, so let me see. Usually it's a little thing. I don't see it. What? All right, hold on. Let me get up. Let me get closer. What's my lovely flashlight? Okay, mine says off on the bottom, off on the bottom. And I think over here it says start or run. I think mine says start or something. Yeah, that's what it says. So both of my switches are down. You might have some that might have the flip switch and then a button. Or you might have a button pressed down and then the flip button. Everybody's organ is different. Sorry it's dark over here that y'all cannot see. But mine have the first button to the left is called run start. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 seconds, or 7 seconds. Shouldn't be pushing that thing too long. And while it's up in start mode, then there's a second button or push up button next to it that says, I believe mine says run. So I'm gonna flip the first one, and I'm gonna hear the motor when it starts to crank up. I'll try to let my Leslie kind of on the organ kind of lay low a little bit. But anyway, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or less. All right. So give it a few moments before mine starts cooking. There we go. So it shouldn't take that very long. Now, if your organ sat for a long period of time, that might be an issue because for a set for a long time and have not been started for a long time, they might, I say potentially, I can't promise you that it will, but it might have an issue being that it has been sitting for a long period of time and it might take a while for it to start up. But I think when I bought this, it was sitting up for a long period of time. Renard Webb, is everybody may know him as Chuck Webb. Let me bring my camera back over a little bit toward this way a little bit. Chuck Webb was going to purchase this B3 Hammond organ, and that's the word I use was going to purchase this B3 Hammond organ. Now, prior to that, to make the long story short, I had talked to him prior to me even knowing anything about this organ, actually, which is the weirdest thing, or interesting thing, I should say. And I had met him at this church where he was playing at out in San Francisco, for a church in San Francisco, and he's playing for, let me see what was it called, True Hope, yeah, True Hope Church of God in Christ, and he was there helping out, I guess. And so my late pastor before he passed away, so we went to go and support the pastor, and so anyway he was there on the organ, and somewhere in between the church services we were conversating, and he was telling me how he haven't been feeling well. I'm not gonna give y'all his business because it's really nobody's business to know how he passed away, but he was very sick and ill when I talked to him. And now at that time, I had no idea that he was going to purchase this B3 Hammond organ back then from a Baptist church, which is pretty interesting. So, anyways, to make the long story short, I pretty much didn't know he was going to purchase this organ at that time. But what was really interesting was at that time he was very sick. Um, and so I was like, wow, man, I mean, I was praying for him and that nothing doesn't ever ever happen to him. But anyway, so, it was always God's will for something for all of our lives. We don't know what's going to happen. But, anyways, so several months later, I was trying to make contact with another musician who happens to be, and I believe he was going to be ordained as an elder later on, and I was trying to remember his name, Don Phillips. So it was back then was Minister Don Phillips, and then he was going to be ordained as Elder Don Phillips. So we exchanged phone numbers, and I was trying to buy an organ through him, but somehow I lost his phone number and ended up calling 411, and they gave me three people's phone numbers that had the same similar name as his, and I was trying to make contact with him again so I can find out what kind of organs he had available. But anyways, um, what ended up happening was the operator gave me one number that was disconnected. The second number was the wrong person with the same name and the last name, but different person. And then the third person, I left a message, and then that person called me back within 24 hours, and was like, "Hey, I hear you left a message. I'm under the impression that I was really actually talking to the guy who I actually was trying to get the organ from from the beginning, but kind of find out later on, he had asked me and my wife to, well, me in particular, to meet with him at a church. So I went to go meet with him at this church, and he was not the same guy that I was trying to hook up with, y'all. My little baby history about how I got this B3 Hammond organ. So it's like I'm telling the future, and then I'm telling you what happened before, and I'm telling you what happened afterwards, and then what happened moving forward. So anyway, I met this preacher, which happens to be a reverend. His name was the same name as Elder, who was about to be ordained as Elder Don Phillips. This guy name was Reverend Don Phillips, which was funny, and it was just funny. So I ended up meeting with him, and my wife went to go meet with him. We went to start checking out some organs that he had at the church. He had like four organs. I only saw the one in the church that I played on. He let me play on it, which he normally never ever let anybody come and play on the organ at his church because that's their rules, unless otherwise you've been invited to come to the church to play. This man really didn't even think I can actually play, which was funny. But I'm like, well, why would I not know how to play if I'm trying to come and buy an organ? But anyway, that was kind of interesting. So anyway, he's like, dude, you know how to play. So anyway, he let me play his electric baby grand keyboard. So I started playing a little bit on that, but I was like, man, I'm not really a keyboard player or a piano player. I'm more an organ player. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna give you the exception. What they say, benefit of doubt. So he cranked up the organ, and I'm like, oh my god, that organ sounded like heaven. And guess who was working on it at the time, or was prior before they got sick, and they had worked on his Hammond organ and his Leslie's. He had like four Leslie's in his church, and this B3 Hammond organ was the dopest organ I've ever heard in my. Okay. So he was like, listen, I got closet number one, door number one, closet number two. You can pick your choice, or down in the basement. I'm like, I'm not going to the basement, but I'll check door number two. I don't know why I passed up door one, but I went to door number two, popped the door open, and saw that this organ was covered up. And I was like, man, let me see what's up. Move the covers off the organ. And next year I know, I was like, man, this is a nice organ. We may have like a little peel here, a little peel there, but so he let me crank it up, and I got on and just played a couple notes. Now it didn't come with a Leslie speaker. It came with what we call what I want to call it cabining. Let me see, two speakers in a cabinet. That's all I can tell you. So anyway, I played on it a little bit, and then and I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. This bad boy sounds nice from what it was projecting through the speakers. But y'all know the difference between the speakers and a real Leslie speaker. Completely different feel. But that's like, you know what? I'll take this organ. And I'm like, hey, do you want to sell one in the church? He's like, nah, man, I can't let you sell. But at that time, I didn't know that Renard Webb, Chuck Webb, was the guy who was had been servicing this man's organ for years. But anyway, at the very end, I pitched. Of course, I did. Well, my wife did the pitching for me, but I don't know why she did that. But anyway, I gave a pitch or whatever, and on how much I was willing to pay for this Hammond organ, and on how much he was willing to give up the organ. And so anyway, my honey started telling them how much we would give it for the organ. But in the end of the day, I won. All right. So but he did ask me what was it appraised for, and I said most B3 Hammond organs depend on if it's in good condition. They can appraise for anywhere give and take from 1,000 up to about 10,000 or more. And he was like, "Wow, really?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I mean, from my observation, from looking at this organ, from what I appraised it for, and my mind said 5,000, 4,500 to $6,000 for this B3 Hammond organ. Being that the fact that when I got on it, it didn't came with a Leslie switch. All right, so that was minus, a couple bucks, $100 on that. But for my appraisal, I was pitching around about 45 to about 5,000 or 5,500, something like that. So he was like, "Wow, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I see." But anyway, he gave me the history on the organ, this B3 organ. This organ was owned by, oh man, I would have got the man's name. He was a jazz musician. He had passed away years prior. And so one of his members ended up becoming a member of the church, but the husband passed away, so she donated the organ to the church, and then it's been sitting in the church for many years, yeah, until I purchased the organ. But at that time, Chuck Webb had was going to buy this organ. He did put a little bit of money down on it, and then the unfortunate thing later on, he ended up passing on. But here's the catch to this: was I said, "Hey, listen, check with Chuck Webb before you do anything out of respect, because we musicians, we want to give another musician the respect." And so he was going to purchase this B300 organ, but he never got back to that pastor, the reverend at the church. He never got back to him. And so at this point, I kind of knew once I kept contacting him and keeping in touch with him on the very last day, because I told him I was coming back in 30 days. And I told the church to hold my money every Sunday, and then I was coming back with a nice check. And I was going to take this Hammond organ off his hands. So 30 days later, I come back, and he haven't heard back from my brother-in, Chuck Webb, Bernard Webb. Miss you, man. Rest in peace. Rest in heaven, man. So he didn't get back with him, and so I handed him that check, and then he helped me load it up on the truck with my wife and my best friend back then, and then I've been had this organ ever since 1999. 1999. But the craziest thing was after I got a hold of the organ and was trying to take it with me to after I was moving out of the city to Vallejo, to Vallejo, California. The craziest thing was when we moved into this place, I was like, man, this is no way I am going to be bringing a B3 Hammond organ up those flight of steps. And ended up staying where I stayed there for 10 years. And so off and on, I would have to go to my mother-in-law's house to kind of, turn on the organ once in a while to make sure that it was still in good condition. Anyway, so yeah. So since then, I haven't really had the organ service but maybe once or twice. And that was only just to put oil in there, install the Leslie switch, which I took it out maybe 2 times until they say it was Bob Schleicher who put the Leslie switch on there the first time. I broke it, hit the switch, pop, 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 pop. Anyway, so let's turn on the organ. I told you how to do that. You have drawbar settings, 9 sets. One for your B preset. Next one is your B flat preset. This is the pedals. The two brown ones, the pedals. The next set of drawbar settings for the upper menu. So basically what I mentioned was these two set of drawbar settings for the B flat and the B preset. So B flat preset I'm on. And then the B flat B preset. And then upper manual we have 2 set of drawbar settings. Down for the B precepts is the next set of 9 drawbar settings. And then the B flat preset for the next set over here. Next to that, you have the vibrato. You can go to C3, V1, C1, V2. The other one should be C3, I think, or either C2, I think. No, C2, and the other one's C3. In the middle was V1. I don't like V1 that much, but anyway. Next to that, you have the next vibrato, great. And then you have swell. Next to that, we have the normal loud, or normal, a little bit softer. Right down below my foot pedal, I have the bass pedals. Y'all can't see it right now, but and then also I call it the gas pedals, where I can go loud or low or whatever. And I already told you about the electric switch. Now mine's is 1 speed, so basically the horns doesn't spin or nothing like that until I hit the switch, and then now the horns will spin. You know. Okay. Now upper manual or lower manual, they have mines have the black precepts and also the white precepts. You have 5 precepts on here, which are white, and then these other 7 are the black precepts. Anyway, not all organs sound nice doing this, but I'm gonna give y'all about 5 more minutes of me doing this. So this is for the people who's trying to learn how to play the organ and you want to know a little bit about it. You have your drawbar settings up here, which I have mine on the 2 white ones. I didn't used to do this back in the day when I first started playing the organ. I used to play the 2 brown ones out, 2 white ones out. Then if I want to get loud, I just bring them all out or whatever. That's what I used to do back in the day. Now, at the upper manual, I just usually use the bass line for the 2 brown ones out, 2 white ones on for bass line. And then the lower manuals, I only used to just use the B flat preset for the lower manual. So and I will bring out the 2 white ones and the 2 brown ones, like the one on. And that's how I used to play back then. And then from time to time, you bring the other drawboards out, the black ones out, the white one out, or all of them out. It feels weird doing it because I haven't played like that in so long. I stopped playing that route until I ran across another musician who showed me a different way of doing things. It feels weird doing it. That feels weird with me doing that. I haven't played like that in so long. It's ridiculous. And I actually can't believe I'm actually playing. I was struggling, y'all. I'm struggling, y'all. I can't do that. I'm terrible. Yeah. up in here with it. Oh my God. That's real old school for sure. I mean, definitely old school. And I try to learn how to play some of y'all new school stuff, but I can't catch y'all. Y'all too fan. Anyway, so now what I play now is my two draw bars out, like out. Okay. Then I come over here and I go to the B preset and I kind of tweak my little something on how I might want to play. I play at the 6 now because I done took my ear out about twice. So that's not going to happen. So I start readjusting on how I want to play now in the middle of the keyboard. And if I want a little bit more, I'll switch over. And then I'll set this up on something a little different. All right, and then I go down to the preset here. You know, and I'm in the middle of the keyboard. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. Or I'll go to the next preset. You know, and that's just give you a little bit more quick. I got my volume on soft, but you know, of course, my organ kills. You know that y'all. Yeah, doing all that new stuff. Yeah. I don't know how to do all that stuff, but anyway. So that's kind of how I ride now. Okay. All right. So this was my breakdown that I wanted to share with the beginner musicians who's trying to learn how to play the organ. I'm just showing you how I do what I do. I gave my little history on how I got the B3 and hammer organ. And so yeah, I got this back in 1990. I want to say 98, give and take. 98 is because when I moved from Vallejo, San Francisco to Vallejo, I moved to Vallejo in hold on, I got the story wrong, y'all. Negative, that is incorrect. I was getting ready to move out of Vallejo. So I mean I lived in Vallejo 10 years prior. So let me make sure I get that correct. I gotta do my math right. Let me do the math correct. So I was getting ready to move out of Vallejo in 1999. All right, toward the end of 1999. So let's get that straight. And I moved here where I live at now, and I moved here in 2020, in 2000, 2000, 2000. Okay, all right. So I've lived here where I'm at now from 2000 to right now. I've been here for 23 years. All right, so let's go 10 years in reverse. Y'all know the numbers. My mind is kind of messed up right now. So that means that if it was 2020, right? 2000, right? Minus 10 years. So to 1990. 1990. No. So in 1990 is when I lived in Vallejo. Okay. All right. 10 years ago. All right. So that means I got married in 88. This is how I know how to do the math. This is, you know what? Let me keep this history right, y'all. I got to keep my history correct, or my wife gonna be on me, right? Boy, you don't even know what you're talking about, bruh. All right. So I came here to where I live now. Let's say now. All right. I'm gonna put the now. Say it with me now. The now. The now. The now. I came here in 2000. The now. It is 23, right? Okay. So that's 20 years here. The now, okay? When I lived in Vallejo, before I lived in Vallejo, before I lived here, I lived in Vallejo for 10 years. That was then. So that was then. So we're going to have the then, right? Okay? So I lived in Vallejo for 10 years. So that would have been 1999, all right? No, that would have been 1990, roughly. And that meant, if I get my math correctly, 1990 to 2020, that's 10 years. Yep, 10 years, right? So that was the then, right? Vallejo, put VJ, VL. I probably call it the Valley Joe. That's what I call it, the Valley Joe. So I lived in the Valley Joe for 10 years. Before 1990, so let's roll back. And I got married in 1988. This is how I do the math, y'all. This is how I know when I came to San Francisco. So we say 1990, right? How long did I live in San Francisco? So let me roll that back. And I got married in 1988. 19, come on, 1988. Oh, that's not correct. That can't be right. I lived in San Francisco longer than that. Hold on. Let me see. That was 1990, I said? 1990, right? Okay, so I got married in 1988. 1988. So 1988. How long did I live in San Francisco? I had to live in San Francisco for almost 10 years. All right, because I got married in '88. My math might be slightly off a little bit, just a hair, y'all. I done messed up my math here. Hold on, because I remember I was in a car accident. My um, so basically, I was in the city for 10 years before I moved to Vallejo for 10 years. To make the long story short, I'm just trying to pinpoint when I actually bought the Hammond organ, and I got the organ right before I moved to Vallejo. Um, in 1990. All right, somewhere around that ballpark. All right, because I lived here 20 years. Prior to that, 10 years before, I was living in Vallejo for 10 years, and then I lived in San Francisco for about 10. Yeah, something like that. All right, y'all. So that's crazy because 1988 is when I got married. I was about 20 something years old. Mm, wow, that's crazy, yo. 1988. Let me show you. This is how I do it. So I've been married for 35 years. So you divide that. 35 years? That's a long time. Almost 40 years. Right. So basically, my wife can probably tell how. I think no, I probably didn't live in San Francisco until maybe like 5 or something like that. But I just know I remember when I got the organ when it was when I was getting ready to move to Vallejo. That's for sure. I do remember that much. If I don't remember nothing else, I do remember getting the Hammond organ before I moved to Vallejo, which is back in 1990 something. Anyway, so now, how did I start playing the organ? It was because I was watching a musician, Joey Bumpers. I call him Big Bro, the Big Bro Joey Bumpers, and then Cedric was on the piano and used to play the drums. I used to watch them, and then be long before them, it was Leon Johnson. Oh, Leon Johnson and Jesse Ayers. I used to watch them before I saw the other musicians, and then that's when I became more interested in wanting to learn how to either play the drums, or was I going to master that, or I was going to end up learning how to get on the organ at some point. So that's the reason why I ended up learning how to play the organ. And of course, I followed so many other musicians who I tried to learn from them and couldn't quite get it at the time. And then I got married, and that just screwed things up. Yeah, I said that just screwed things up. That just jacked up everything, the whole plan. Because my godfather was trying to send me to Berkeley, out of state to go to college for black college, music college back then. But then I messed up the plans, and I got married in '88. I graduated from high school in '86, and then I met my wife right around about '86, '87, and then we got married in '88. So yes, we were already living with each other by that time. Shocking! The devil is a lie. Oh Lord, when you unlearn and the devil got your mind messed up, but God said no, you better get it right. You better get it right. Oh Lord, oh Lord. And that's pretty much how my little history came. Taught myself these first couple chords, several chords. These were my very first chords. Or many chords. Now anything after 7 chords is many, right? So I taught myself this stuff. And it's funny, I still remember it. And then after that, later on, I started I bought my first keyboard, then I sold that right when I got married. That's funny. Anyway, sold that keyboard after I got married and didn't do nothing with it. And then later on, I ended up buying a keyboard when I moved here to Antioch. And listen, this is a long time ago. So basically, I had a keyboard before I had the organ. Right. Then I sold the keyboard before I got the organ, and then I got the organ much years later, and yeah, many years later. And then moved here to Antioch and bought another keyboard. It's in my closet, still brand new. I had to pull that out because it's actually my bedside keyboard. All right, so this is your boy Andre. Hit that like button if you like the contents that I'm posting, and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Let somebody know that there's some new cat on the block. You know, I'm more of an organ player. I've never been really a keyboard player. Not that I care for it. As far as playing out in public, y'all probably see me playing on a keyboard here at the house, but I'm too shy to playing on out in public. Cause I can get on the organ and be, I feel like I'm at home on the organ. You know, I feel like this is my boo right here. This is my boo. This is my boo right here, y'all. But it took me years to learn how to do all this stuff. I didn't always play this way, y'all. It's a growing process, all right? So for me going from this, the funniest thing is I had a group when I was about 17 years old, 17, 18-ish or whatnot, close to 19. And I don't remember none of the stuff I did, which is super hilarious. But I created a group and we used to go sing for the pastor, the late pastor, what was his first name? George, wait a minute. I think it's George Moore. I forgot it. Shoot, I forgot his part of his name. But anyway, from the late Moore, Pastor Moore, Pittsburgh, California, greater McLaughlin Temple Church of God in Christ. But the other next musician who actually was my big brother, who also helped me out a little bit and learned how to play a little bit, was Frank Mo. Frank the Mo. And then after that, everything else, years later, years later, I would say within the last 5 years, I started coming up a little bit. A little bit. I'm still sucked though. But the way you come up is you gotta listen to other musicians, all right? See what other cats are doing, and start trying to master on how you want to do it. The number system, I just started learning that within the last, I want to give it take 5 years or maybe under 5 years. So learning my scales and the number system and then the chord, the Nashville scale, and y'all know what that means, the formula and all that kind of stuff, the notes, you know, your scales and your number system, and the chords associated to it. I have my own little idea on how I want to do things, which I told y'all, major, minor, all on the one, major, minor, augmented, diminished. And I came up with my own idea, and then I started listening to ideas other musicians are doing, and I started saying, wait a minute, these cats are doing the stuff that I already know how to do, but the thing is how they're actually putting it together. Listen, y'all, I got to go. Peace of love and cornbread. My honey's going to be yelling at me, wondering why I'm not taking a nap right now, and it's almost 7 o'clock, and so she's pulling up, so I know she's going to yell at me and be like, yo, bro, you better go take your behinds to bed. But anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Peace of love and cornbread. Hit that like button, subscribe if you like the contents that I'm popping off. And I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be lit, y'all. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. It's gonna get lit. Alright, actually I've been litting stuff up already. I already lit some stuff up. So let me not say it's gonna get lit. It's already lit. But anyway, I gotta rock and roll. Peace and love and cornbread. Yee!